But this story is I think a bombshell in the sense that we should be internalizing it as the equivalent of the World Health Organization and their pandemic treaty. This is kind of the United Nations approach to misinformation in that context. In other words, they want to take away sovereignty from the United States, from our government, and put it to kind of the level above, right? Extract one level up, and have really the United Nations be able to determine what exactly constitutes misinformation. So they've launched what's called a Convention on Countering the Use of Information and Communications Technologies for Criminal Purposes. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but if you really drill down and you read the document, or at least the draft document, it really has to do with people who share information that the UN would deem misinformation. In some cases, it's people who promote ideological hatred or political hatred, people who also promote, they say, terrorism or trying to overthrow the government, but as we've seen, those terms are often misappropriated and weaponized against people who dare to defy the globalist kind of world order. And I think the key point to focus on here, which we'll get into later, but is how China is actually trying to shape this treaty, this convention, and they've actually put forth a resolution to be added to this document, and I'll read it briefly because it really is scary. And they say they want to criminalize people who share false information that could result in serious social disorder, including but not limited to information related to natural and human-caused disasters. In other words, to me, that means they're talking about a lab leak and a potentially future pandemic or artificially create a natural disaster. But that is right out of the CCP's mouth, this concept of social disorder. That's how kind of the new term that they're going to be using to silence us. And it's really scary that the UN is actually partnering not just with member states like China, but also private companies, including Meta, the American Chamber of Commerce, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft. They're part of the ad hoc committee advising the UN on the formulation of this committee. So this is a really big story that is worth paying attention to. It's up on warroom.org if you want to read it.
What is the timing of all this? When's this convention? Just walk me through a critical path here.
Sure. So the effort to roll this out began in December 2019. That was when the UN voted to kind of get the groundwork going to establish this convention, and it'll be formalized. So the document, what I'm speaking about now, is a draft, but it'll be totally done, the deliberative process completed in September of 2024. So they're really taking their time, I would argue, nefariously, to make sure that they maximize the power that they can get using these, so-called man-made or natural human disasters to sort of broaden their purview over what they can and can't censor.